One of the greatest military leaders in history, the famous Roman emperor and dictator known for changing the republican system to the imperial system in ancient Rome, as highlighted in this video featuring none other than Julius Caesar, the great emperor of Rome. Gaius Julius Caesar, in Latin known as Caius or Gaius Julius Caesar, was a Roman military leader, politician, and dictator. His aim was to end the republican regime and establish a monarchy. He amassed titles, serving as the Pontifex Maximus, perpetual dictator, lifetime censor, and lifetime consul. He formed the First Triumvirate alongside Pompey and Crassus. For 10 years, he sought to unify the Roman world. Gaius Julius Caesar was born in Rome, Italy. In the year 100 BC, he belonged to a patrician family, the nobles of blood and land, the Roman elite, and claimed descent from Aeneas. He was the nephew of Gaius Marius, and like all Roman aristocrats, he received an excellent education, learning Greek and speaking Latin fluently. He became a skilled soldier, reaching adulthood at the age of 16, and fought in Asia in some pockets of resistance against Roman rule. His goal was to become king, so he allied himself with the popular party, which aligned with his objectives. His prominence in military life is due to his accomplishments in the Gallic Wars, responsible for the territorial expansion of Roman rule, conquering lands to the north and annexing portions of land in a region called Gaul. Currently, the region is where France, Switzerland, Belgium, and parts of Germany are located. At the end of the war, Roman senators demanded that Julius Caesar return to Rome, ending the activities of the army. Caesar did not accept, did not comply with the request, and in 49 BC, he entered the city armed, marching on Rome, which was forbidden by law. This breach of Julius Caesar led to a political chaos that resulted in a civil war, from which Julius Caesar emerged victorious, assuming power and becoming a dictator. The union of Crassus, Pompey, and Julius Caesar dissolved after Crassus's death, when Pompey began to support the Roman Senate against Julius Caesar. Julius Caesar governed amidst continuous challenges and opposition. He took on the responsibility of advocating for a multitude of reforms, spanning both the social and political spheres. Notably, he introduced a novel calendar, referred to as the Julian calendar, which served as the foundation for the modern Gregorian calendar we adhere to. This calendar system divided the years into 12 months, totaling 365 days. In 46 BC, back in Rome, he used his legions to quash the Senate's authority, effectively decreeing the Republic's demise. He ruthlessly eliminated the last followers of Pompey, self-proclaimed himself as a lifelong consul, and established an unending dictatorship. He possessed the authority to personally select various public officials, enact any laws he deemed fit, and, furthermore, he stood as the ultimate commander of the armed forces. He embarked on a comprehensive transformation of Rome and the empire, addressing both political and administrative aspects. He initiated a thorough reformation of both Rome and the empire, tending to matters encompassing politics and administration. This undertaking encompassed the enhancement of the legal framework, fostering the expansion of the state's economy, advancing provincial governance, propelling the process of Romanization in newly obtained territories through colonization efforts, distributing land to soldiers, revising the calendar, leading ambitious construction projects, and orchestrating festivities to boost the morale of the populace. A man of profound erudition, with a keen interest in linguistics and grammar, he penned, amid other works, treatises on the methods of water distribution in Rome. The position of Julius Caesar as the head of his family and as the high priest of Jupiter was shaken with the rise of Sulla to Roman power. This was because Sulla began to pursue his opponents, like Lucius Cinna, and Julius Caesar was married to the daughter of Lucius Cinna. Furthermore, Sulla was a supporter of a political faction called the Optimates, whereas Julius Caesar and Lucius Cinna were members of the opposing faction, the Populares. These political factions represented distinct ideological positions in the context context of the Roman Republic, the populares advocated for measures that would benefit the poorer population of Rome, the plebeians. On the other hand, the optimates were against any measures that would benefit the plebeians. This made Julius Caesar a target of Sulla, and his family's assets were confiscated by the Roman government, along with the dowry he received from his wife's family. He was removed from the position of flame dialis and, as a result, decided to flee Rome, fearing that Sulla might pose a threat to his life. Julius Caesar remained away from Rome while Sulla was alive. During this period, he joined the Roman army and served under the command of 2 generals in Asia Minor, even receiving honors for his performance in battle. He decided to return to Rome in 78 BC after Sulla's death, settling in a more modest neighborhood in Rome and working as a lawyer. He became known for his excellent oratory skills. In the context of internal disputes and external threats, several generals emerged in Rome, among them Gaius Marius, a member of the Popular Party. In 88 BC, Gaius Marius initiated a civil war, diminishing the importance of the Senate and restricting the privileges of the aristocracy. With the death of Gaius Marius in 86 BC, the general Sulla was proclaimed as the perpetual dictator. Sulla curtailed the power of the plebeian courts and that of the popular assembly and doubled the number of senators. Ruthless and ambitious, he ordered the dismemberment of prisoners right in the Senate. It was under the shadow of this bloody dictatorship that Julius Caesar spent his formative years as a citizen, as the nephew of General Marius. In 74 BC, the king of Pontus, Mithridates, resumed his eternal war with Rome by attacking some of its Asian allies. Caesar became involved in the war and seized the opportunity to gain popularity. He organized an army and, after confronting Mithridates, was appointed as the Pontifex. Back in Rome, during the consulship of Pompey and Marcus Licinius Crassus, Julius Caesar played a role in abolishing Sulla's constitution. As an exceptional orator, he won over the people, who aided him in his political rise. In 69 BC, he was elected as quaestor. Around the same time, his wife passed away. In 68 BC, Caesar married Pompeia. In 65 BC, he was appointed as the aedile magistracy. That allowed him to gain even more prestige and focus on beautifying the city of Rome. During this period, he organized public games, horse races, gladiator fights, and battles with wild beasts. In 62 BC, Julius Caesar won the position of praetor, and in the following year, left his wife and headed to Hispania Ulterior as a praetor, which allowed him to organize his own army. In 60 BC, with the support of the army, Julius Caesar, Pompey, and Crassus signed a secret pact in which they established an alliance and took control of Rome with the formation of the First Triumvirate. Planning to monopolize power, in 50 BC, Julius Caesar was elected consul of the province of Gaul, present-day France. Between 58 and 57 BC, Julius Caesar defeated the Helvetii, the Germans, and the Belgae. In 55 BC, the 3 military leaders divided the territories controlled by Rome among themselves. In 53 BC, after the death of Crassus, the Senate and Pompey conspired to overthrow Caesar, who was absent from Rome as he was governing Gaul. In 49 BC, upon learning of the conspiracy, Julius Caesar and his armies marched on Rome. After uttering the famous phrase, "The die is cast." After defeating Pompey's forces, Caesar became dictator for life. After Pompey took refuge in Greece, he was pursued by Julius Caesar and fled to Egypt, where he was assassinated by advisors of Ptolemy XIII, the young king. During this time, Ptolemy's 2 sisters Cleopatra and Arsinoe were vying for the Egyptian throne against their even younger brother. All of them sought the favors of Julius Caesar, the ruler of the greatest Mediterranean power. As the story goes, Julius Caesar locked himself in a palace to decide on the names of Ptolemy XIII's ministers. A few days later, he received a rolled-up carpet, and upon opening it, he discovered the young, beautiful, and clever Cleopatra, who offered herself to him in exchange for assistance with her political ambitions. Ptolemy eventually agreed to share the throne with Cleopatra. After Ptolemy's death in 47 BC, Arsinoe was sent as a prisoner to Italy. Caesar and Cleopatra could enjoy their victory in peace. Cleopatra became queen, but Egypt became a vassal of Rome. Supported by the urban plebeians and the army, Julius Caesar began to accumulate titles granted by the Senate. He became the Pontifex Maximus and was appointed as the perpetual dictator, which allowed him to reform the constitution. He also became the lifelong censor, giving him the right to compile the list of senators. He also held the position of lifelong consul, through which he exercised imperium, that is, command over the army in Rome and the provinces. Utilizing all these powers, Julius Caesar initiated numerous reforms. He quelled civil wars, initiated the construction of public works, and reorganized finances. Julius Caesar reformed the calendar, naming the 7th month July after himself and introducing a leap year every 4 years. His authoritarianism, the undermining of Senate power, popular reforms, and the desire to restore monarchy led the aristocracy to conspire against the dictator for life. After proclaiming himself as the dictator for life, Julius Caesar centralized all political power in his hands and consequently weakened the Senate. To become king, a title synonymous with betrayal after the Senate had abolished the monarchy, Julius Caesar allied himself with Marcus Antonius Mark Antony, who incited the plebeians against the Senate. In 44 BC, Marcus Antonius publicly offered Julius Caesar a royal diadem, but the demonstrations were so intense that Julius refused the offer. Dissatisfied with the situation, defenders of the Republic united under the leadership of Cassius and the young Brutus, his friend and protege. He eventually fell victim to a conspiracy by the elite and was assassinated on the steps of the Senate building itself. It is said that he uttered the words "et tu, Brute." Before falling, Julius Caesar died in Rome, Italy, on the 15th of March in the year 44 BC. The death of Julius Caesar caused deep public upheaval, and the resurgence of civil strife was only pacified with the formation of the Second Triumvirate, composed of the officials Mark Antony, Octavian Augustus, and Lepidus. The officials eventually came into conflict. In 31 BC, Octavian defeated his rivals and consolidated power in his hands, ushering in the Roman Empire.